Hello, and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode number 62 for the week of, Monday, June 18th, 2012. My name is Ryan Higgins. We're here to talk about some comic booky stuff. We got a bunch to talk about, so let's get this started. Who's here with me? Start on the left side.
Brock Sager.
Keep going down the line.
Omar Broderick. Happy birthday, Tupac.
Oh, man. Across the table.
Toby.
Next to him.
And Charlie.
And down the far end off mic, as always, apparently a permanent sixth chair that has no microphone. But we'll jump and occasionally make a witty comment in here, too. Jim, scream something. All right. Jim. Excellent. All right.
Our live studio audience.
Yeah. All right, we got some stuff to talk about. Let's get the show on the road. Actually, thought we didn't have a lot to talk about, and then we have a lot to talk about, so let's do this. Got some questions over Twitter. Some things worth talking about. Where's the start
Catwoman
of
Zero?
this? No, shut up. Where's the start of this? Someone's Twitter account that is a period. It's actually Podcast Fanboy, but his name is a period. So
like monthly visitor?
Bonk. No, just a one dot.
Oh.
He asks, have you noticed that coloring in comics only got really great during the mid-2000s? I would argue with that a little bit, but only the reasoning comic coloring is a lot better now is because it's all done digitally and paper quality doesn't suck ass. Yep. So I think that's why. Omar, you seem to be more into like a lot of the coloring in art, like not just the main artist. You know a little bit more about this than I do, I think. What's your take?
No, I agree. It's complete. It's definitely all digital. But they play with all these different hues and halftones and things that they really couldn't get and do the halftones. So they could do the colors. You can't do it back then, really.
Right? Well, it's 4-color comics. I mean, they literally they used to use 4 colors, like way back in the day. I mean, they just couldn't print more than that on the crappy paper. And the paper now, that's like this really slick, digital friendly paper will take all the coloring in. That old paper, that pulp paper and the newsprint and everything, that used to just destroy anything that got printed on it. If you go back and look 80s and beyond, go look at some old comics, and if they haven't been taken care of, you'll see even like literally the inking like smearing off of it or just getting really dark looking and like kind of distorted. It's really bad.
For sure. I mean, another thing too to take in consideration is just the different world influences. Like, I think we brought up anime before. Anime, a lot of them are black and white. Yeah. But they play without using the colors by doing, again, the shades, different shades of gray, the halftones, the different textures. And we saw that, pushed to the fullest in one of the more famous American black and white wannabe mangas, Scott Pilgrim. Which, again, that was around mid-2000, wasn't it?
It's like 05, I think, is when the first book came out.
Yeah.
That sounds, or 04. That sounds right.
And the way he plays with the shades, shows emotion, it being dark. A lot of people took that. A lot of colorists saw that and said, "Damn, I'm gonna take that to the next level." But play with it, with color. So,
I don't know. I agree that overall the general quality has gotten better, but yeah, I keep thinking of stuff like Kingdom Come and some stuff that just
that's different though.
Yes, that's
because
very different.
Painted and Kingdom Come was already on that high gloss paper that's now pretty much standard. So yeah,
but there were a couple of things out there back then that.
Sure.
I mean, especially once Alex Ross hit the scene, you started seeing more and more of that stuff sort of slip out there here and there.
Well, I remember back in the early 90s, Marvel, I think this is pretty much confirmed at this point. I don't know if how much people got into this, but Marvel felt really threatened by Malibu Comics. Not so much specifically because of their sales, but because they bought them because of their digital coloring technique. They had developed a really cheap, in comparison, digital coloring house, and they basically said, we want that, and they just bought the company and shut it down and bought the digital coloring process, because I think Marvel felt kind of threatened by it, because Marvel at the time, boy, their books look like shit if you go back and look at some of those. Their coloring was so bad. Jim actually picked up one of the recently recolored X-Men hardcovers, and I actually don't like those for the complete opposite reason, because that's not how they looked. They've gone back and recolored stuff, and it works on some stuff like Sandman. I didn't get too offended by that. They just kind of cleaned it up. But on like the Flex Mentallo trade, I like it, but I don't like that they recolored it. These X-Men trades, there was the Thor hardcover.
I liked it on the
omnibus. But they recolored them using modern coloring techniques, and it's just not the same. I don't like them.
You're talking about the Jim Lee Claremont X-Men.
Yeah,
number 1
got recolored.
You got recolored, and I think it it suffered in the sense of that it kind of had a one-tone feel to it, where before it was a little more open with the lightness of the backgrounds, versus this time it seemed more like there was one specific lens being looked through.
Well, I don't know if anyone saw it. Rob Liefeld posted some pictures from I guess it's going to be in a recolored X-Force hardcover or omnibus of his X-Force run.
I'm excited.
But it looks so bland and boring compared to the crazy colors they used to use back in the 90s just because they could. But regardless.
Well, I just finished reading the Extinction Agenda.
Yeah.
And the inking in that is just, ugh. I mean, inking from the 90s was so bad.
But that's what it looked like. And I don't want them to change the old ones. I don't like that.
Well, I think you touching up would have been a better thing for them to do.
Yeah, which is kind of what they did in Sandman more. So
Really quickly, 2 examples of just fascinating colors, in my opinion, that just are changing the game. Trish Mulvey and especially Tomo Mori. Tomo Mori, he got a lot more acclaim, I think, when he was doing Gotham City Sirens and when he partnered with Gilliam March, because they just totally vibed off each other. Where he's doing 3 different books now. He's doing Catwoman. He does Detective, and he does another book. I forget which one. But
Well, I got to give it down to Christina Strain. So yeah, I like her. So she's doing good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I think with the coloring, it's been digital now all for such a long time. They can experiment more a little bit with it. So, all right, let's wrap this up here. Got one more question, or 2 more questions real quick. One from CrossX Hunter on Twitter. He says, not really a question, but just wanted to say that both the DC Nation cartoons are now not airing new episodes. And that is correct. Young Justice is on break after it's on, it just started this new season. It's on break. I was actually misinformed. I thought this Green Lantern was the finale, but I guess me and Charlie were talking before the podcast.
We got into a little argument over that.
Not an argument. It's just I was ill-informed. It's only the
I was
half.
just too busy yelling at you going, it can't be true, Ryan!
It can't. He fell on his knees. No!
That actually happened.
It was only the half-season finale, so I thought this was the full-on season finale. But yeah, so I guess there's going to be 12 more. Probably, I would assume 12 more Green Lantern, 12 more Young Justice, something like that. It seems like. Well,
I would expect more. Well,
yeah, we're not quite half Young Justice. What are we, 5 or 6 episodes in?
Well, all I could find is up through episode 20 was confirmed, but that didn't mean that 20 is where it ended. It's just 20 was where they were at in terms of the production.
So there's probably 18 or 20 more episodes left in the series. So for Young Justice, so there will be more. But the thing that it's cool but kind of sucks is they're still continuing the shorts. Mm-hmm. So I'm having to still TiVo them all, fast forward. See the 2-minute short. Keep fast forwarding. Next episode, fast forward, short, and then done.
I haven't looked on my TiVo yet to see if it's like this. And yes, I know this because of my kids. But the Disney Channel and their morning block has a bunch of different shorts that they show with various shows too. And I know at least on those you can actually TiVo just the shorts.
I can't TiVo the shorts. I guess I didn't see anything that said they had just the shorts, but I know on Disney XD they actually have that big middle part. They actually, my TiVo for Earth's Mightiest Heroes was 42 minutes long or something like that, because they had this big centerpiece with Joe Quesada doing some artwork and a bunch of other random crap. So, but yes. Oh, and so I think next week I'll be fully caught up with Young Justice because I've been bad and haven't finished. I think we want to talk some Young Justice, the break finale. So
let's go, Master Higgins.
I'm coming. The Serial Kills. I wonder if he's a fan of that Sandman arc where they go to the Serial convention. He says he's going to be picking up the trades for Batman, Swamp Thing, and Animal Man, along with some Venom comics. Are these good comics to pick up? Yes. And I actually don't read the new Venom series. So.
The new Venom series is interesting. I don't know how long-term appeal it's going to have, but I mean, just from the changes they made to the character and what they're doing with it, it's worth looking at.
Yeah, in the new Venom comic, longtime Peter Parker villain, Flash Thompson, not Spider-Man villain, but Peter Parker villain.
Well, but I mean, he was Peter Parker villain in high school, but then kind of turned to a friend afterwards.
But it always comes back to him and Peter kind of being at odds.
That's okay. He always loved Spider-Man. He was Spider-Man's biggest fan.
Yeah,
and
I really liked that. That was cool about that character.
Well, they ended up sending this guy off. He joined the military. They blew off his legs. Yep. He came back, and now they got him in some experimental government thing that had the Venom symbiote, and now
I
he's
don't know
Venom.
exactly how the government got the symbiote, but they're kind of doing the controlled. Okay, we put the symbiote on you. You go
I
out
think
on
they
this
caught-
I think it's Shield, right?
No, it's from Thunderbolts, because Thunderbolts was the...
Well, didn't they get... Because I know the Lizard had it for a while. Mm-hmm. And Eddie Brock, who was originally Venom...
became anti-Venom.
anti-Venom.
Okay.
He had like sort of...
The Scorpion.
Or
Yeah,
Scorpion, I'm sorry, not Lizard, Scorpion. He had anti-Venom... Or Eddie Brock got cancer, and he got this experimental thing done, and it basically took the Venom thing and like reversed it, so now he's like a white Venom, and now he's like, I just want to kill the Venom symbiote.
Last I saw, anti-Venom's gone now.
Well, sure. But yeah, they'll bring that
No,
back.
it was Thunderbolts, the group that's over Thunderbolts,
Yeah.
took the symbiote away from the
Okay, I
Scorpion.
didn't see that part.
I don't think it's S.H.I.E.L.D., though. I think it's the U.S. government. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's the military portion.
Yeah.
It wasn't Shield that did it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But they're doing the typical, okay, we unleash the monster, he goes out, he comes back, they remove the symbiote, Flash goes back to his wheelchair.
Right.
Yeah. So the current storyline that is in the individual book is by Remender, and he kind of utilized a lot of threads and things that were happening within his other book. Was it Secret
Avengers.
Yeah, Secret Avengers.
Well, Venom was in like an issue or two of Secret Avengers as well.
Yeah.
So.
I haven't read the individual book, but I love him in Secret Avengers. He's fucking cool. He's kind of like that lone gun. And they also made an exclusive WizKids Venom piece, which is badass. And they have a power set where they pretty much can have him like get flew in, and he can just go right and be the first attacker. So
Nice.
Well, he's like the complete covert ops type
Yeah.
in his book and stuff. So.
totally.
Swamp Thing and Animal Man, I mean, we've talked a lot about on this podcast.
Just read them.
But Batman.
Love those.
Good that he asked about Batman, because the first hardcover's out, and we're on the penultimate issue now of what will be the second hardcover, the second collection.
And hopefully an absolute someday.
Came out this past week. Batman issue number 10. Now, I've read it, Barack's read it, Omar's read it. Charlie, have you read Batman?
Oh,
10?
yes, I've read Batman.
Toby,
Of course.
do you know what happens in Batman 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll turn the microphone on. You there?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So,
Well, I didn't read it, but I know.
but you know what happens. Okay. This is pretty big spoilers for Batman number 10, although they've been all over the interwebs and everything. So if you haven't heard, you may want to skip this bit.
Guess what? This is now a spoiler-filled podcast.
Yeah. There's actually going to be a lot of spoiler stuff in this one, so be prepared for that.
Enjoy it.
But yeah, Batman 10. It's pretty crazy. So we got the final reveal of the head of the Court of Owls, right?
It seemed like he was more manipulating a group that already existed.
Sure, right. But I mean, he's sort of the mastermind behind this whole thing.
Yeah, he's a mastermind behind the, hey, let's go fuck with Bruce Wayne storyline.
Right, this whole thing that's been going on.
Charlie said that didn't sound right.
I like how he's like more physically like empowered, like
Yeah, it just
physically
didn't sound right
bigger
when
though.
you say it.
I always had a feeling too, like you said, you kind of felt it, but there was a lot of foreshadowing in their play between their little like elitist conversations. The dude's bigger than him.
Well,
kind of like
after the reveal, it's just one of those things that are like, oh, of course.
Yes.
So the reveal is this is Thomas Wayne Jr., who has had two appearances, two real appearances in the comics prior to this. The first appearance was that he was just kind of some random villain way back in the day, and like everything else, I want to say Bob Haney wrote this comic. I could be wrong, but I think he did. He was in World's Finest. Bob Haney, for those who don't know, is a fantastic. Well, he is a classic, not maybe in the great way. In a just he's so well known for what he was, writer for DC in the '60s, that he did not understand the word continuity. Like he ignored it at every turn. He wrote Teen Titans. He wrote Brave and the Bold. And Batman would just randomly be on Ron hanging out with Adam Strange, no explanation given, because Batman's just in the Old West because he's Batman. He was like, I'm writing these for kids. Like, they don't care. He's just Batman doing whatever Batman does. When the 60s started to progress and they actually started to care about continuity, especially in books like Teen Titans, Bob Haney sort of got kind of kicked out of the industry because he just didn't ever
respect the history and the groundwork.
Well, he was kind of moving off in a different...
They should have just moved him to What If.
Yeah.
Well, those
right?
books. Those books literally are what ifs at this point. I mean, they were, DC in the 50s especially, everything was a sort of what if. What if Superman had a giant head? What if Batman married Lois Lane? Like, there were all these, these imaginary stories, quote unquote, is what they called them.
Giant head.
He single-handedly created the multiverse.
He did. He actually did create the multiverse because he created all these whack-ass stories. I believed this is actually totally inconsequential. Bob Haney didn't write this book, but I think he did. But if it doesn't, interesting.
Isn't there an interweb in front of you?
There's your trivia for the day. I don't remember the issue number. Anyway, not important. So then he actually comes back in Grant Morrison's Earth 2 title with Frank Quitely.
Alternate world.
Right. Earth.
Justice.
They had kind of got rid of the crime syndicate, which was this alternate reality bad JLA. They had gotten rid of the whole concept of Earth 2, and they rebooted the comics back in the 80s. They did all this stuff. So when Grant Morrison reintroduced these concepts, he was like, well, let's take Thomas Wayne Jr. and make him Owlman, Owlman being the bad Batman from the crime syndicate. And other than that, I mean, again, we've seen him, he's popped up a handful of times, but they've never really shown him again.
He popped up in...
I mean, they've
Didn't he pop up in a Return?
The crime syndicate's been around in various titles.
Technically, he's been in one of the direct-to-videos.
Right. Yeah. Was that Thomas Wayne Jr.?
They never said his name, but it was a different voice than Batman's voice, so I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, that was the Justice League Doom video.
No,
not Doom.
It was
Crisis on Crisis on Two Earths. Yeah. This Owlman character, who has a badass costume, by the way.
Oh, incredible.
Is Thomas Wayne Jr. in the New 52 Earth? Is he actually Owlman now taking over the Court of Owls? It's like, of course, this is who it's going to be, but just no one thought of it.
Sure.
But is it the same character? Is he from the multiverse? Is he from Earth 2? Is he just?
I'm assuming no.
Thomas Wayne Jr. It's Bruce Wayne's older brother. Sorry, we didn't actually clarify that. He's Bruce Wayne's older brother
that was kept a secret and thrown into
an insane asylum. Yeah.
Well, it was a children's
it
was a
hospital.
premium exclusive elitist children's hospital, but then when
so
the Waynes
all
died,
the same fucked up stuff goes on in there.
Exactly. All that shit.
And when they died, right, he just kind of got left behind, right? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah.
And Bruce knew nothing about him.
I think what it is I think what Scott Snyder is trying to do, and from what I've read of his tweets and stuff like that and interviews, is that with this New 52, they're kind of trying to give us sort of a different spin on Batman's history, in the sense of more so than his parents are killed and he becomes Batman,
This is straight up Grant Morrison shit at this point.
Well, no, it is, but it's kind of taking all of this stuff and giving it to us at one time, instead of it being a scattered kind of ordeal. So it's more of, we're getting more of like the stuff he was doing with Black Mirror with James Gordon Jr. before we went into here. It's just, you see all of this stuff building up and stuff that like, ooh, it's engaging, and it's bringing us back into comic books, because it's taking all these ideas that are kind of out there in the ether and compacting them into the universe.
Yeah,
I actually consider this more doing a Jeff Johns than a Morrison. I mean, I understand the whole idea of sort of
a character that appeared once in some random issue back in the 60s.
Necron was in like 2 issues before he came in as a bad guy for Blackest Night,
but it
made perfect sense. Versus a lot of times when Morrison brings somebody back, it doesn't necessarily make perfect sense.
Be careful. Be careful.
Hold on.
Here we go. Here's the argument
I'm behind
again.
Charlie on this. Versus, it's more Johnsy than Morrison-y, because it's actually understandable.
So this is a totally Morrison. This is a total Morrison thing here, bringing a character that appeared once randomly and doing something totally badass with them. Well, look, all I want is a.
Oh, it didn't shut your phone off.
No, I guess I didn't.
Smooth move.
Oh, nice one, Higgins.
Yeah,
smooth move, Higgins.
Girlfriend's calling me.
That's
Sorry, Leanne. I'll
right
call you
there.
back.
What's up, Leanne?
Yeah, sorry, baby. I'll call you back later.
Damn, Smooth. Look at this guy.
Having Morrison bring Morrison always does crap like this. And yes, Johns does it too, but this is a Morrison thing. And so just be quiet. I want Thomas Wayne Jr. and Gordon Jr. from the Black Mirror arc, which was Scott Snyder's previous arc on Detective. I want them to team up, because that would be badass.
That
Why is
would
my
be-
phone making
Didn't it?
so many noises?
Because you didn't shut it off.
I did. It's totally shut off. What's going on here?
Didn't they already bring him into the New 52 as well?
James Gordon.
No,
sorry.
yeah,
sure?
he was in
Yeah.
Batgirl.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
Yep,
Oh,
he was in an issue of Batgirl.
Yeah, I was
Like
yes,
real briefly.
real brief.
I like how the mom's a fuck up now too. It's awesome.
Well, you know what's funny? I actually don't know, because the whole James Gordon, Barbara Gordon, Sarah Gordon, who is a second wife, like the continuity. I don't know what I don't even know what it was prior to this. Whether Barbara is Gordon's daughter or adopted daughter, or like there's a bunch of random stuff.
They're both gingers.
But it changes. Like it's changed so many times, so I don't actually know what the past and current. I think currently
think
he is his. She's his
been
daughter.
His daughter.
Yeah.
But it changed. It wasn't
When?
always. She was his niece for a long time.
Well, yeah, I remember the niece thing for
But,
a while.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, there you go. It's pretty
As
awesome.
long as the drapes match the rug.
You mean you like Firecrotch? Is that what you're saying?
So Batman 10 was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, yeah. And so 11 is the wrap up issue. So I'm really curious to see where they go with that. Very, very curious. And then he had posted something on Twitter about apparently issue 13 is going to be bigger than issue 10. So
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, don't know.
And
what
then
to
we'll
expect.
return to the Johns versus Morrison discussion again.
There is no discussion.
There's gonna be a whole lot of finger snapping.
It's
Well,
Snydered. He Snydered it.
Speaking of returns, I wasn't going to talk about this, but you guys could talk about it real briefly. I haven't read the issue yet, but speaking of returns, last issue of Green Lantern
Oh, yeah.
and John's, we get the return of was it Black Hand?
Black Hand.
Yeah, Black Hand.
Black
Also-
Hand
also
with
Black
a
Mask.
Black Lantern ring.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And he's gonna
that
get
was
some
awesome.
fucking revenge.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out, Indigo.
Yeah, I think when the Sinestro Corps arc ended and they went for Green Lantern, then they did Secret Origins, which was sort of like a rehashing of Hal Jordan's origin. It felt like a bit of an off step. Like it was like, oh, you're in such a big story arc, and then it kind of dies down, but then it built back up again. I think the aftermath for the War of the Lanterns, because I liked War of the Lanterns despite you people not liking it.
I liked it.
I liked it. I thought it
But
was.
you hated it.
I didn't
Brock.
hate it.
when it was coming out. You were like, "This is dumb."
No, it wasn't as big as the rest of the stuff that was coming out that we had from Green Lantern before. So, if I was to put it up there, I'm not going to put it up there with the Blackest Night stuff, and I'm not going to put it up there with the Sinestro Corps War. So it's not that I didn't like it; I enjoyed it. I mean, it was just it wasn't up to par with some of the bigger stories that we
Well,
had.
I think, at least to me, the way I kind of viewed that story arc is, and this is kind of unfortunate, it came across as though they were trying to do another big event at a time when they really shouldn't have been launching another big event. So I can understand why some people kind of got a little burnt out around that. But I mean,
but
I don't. Like, I know a lot of people who stepped away from Green Lantern for a little while at that point and then went back and read it and really, really liked it. So
One thing I also to tag on there, what Charlie's saying, is I appreciated that, for me, it wasn't like a big event, though a lot of people said it was, and it definitely had, the big call out for it being an event. I like that it reshuffled all the color decks and put green in the center again and focused on that, because I think that was needed, because there was a lot of that, ooh, the pink lanterns, yellow lanterns, black, it's just like it's all over the place, which was fine.
Yeah,
because
well-
it was controlled that way by a very powerful writer, and one person. So
well, what I think happened is Rebirth was big, and then you kind of got the follow up issues, and then Sinestro Corps was huge, and then it kind of went back down during Secret Origin, and then the build up to Black Knight was ridiculously huge, the biggest thing DC's done in years.
because it was awesome.
And then it kind of, during the Brightest Day stuff, although Brightest Day was good, the Green Lantern book kind of felt like it was trying to find its place. And then it built up to the War of the Lanterns. And then now we're kind of, focus back on Hal, focus back on Sinestro. And then here we go again. Now we're getting back into it. So it's a roller coaster. You always have those dips that go up before the next big part. So, but yes, Green Lantern. Oh, I must catch up. I'm a few months behind on some of my books. So.
shame on you. I'm going to tell Jeff Johns, just like I threw you under the bus with Ethan Van Sciver.
I should still show him my wall of Firestorm action figures. So one, what do we want to do with this? Walking Dead? No, I'll do something else. How was I going to talk about? Yeah, I don't remember.
AVX.
Shit. Yeah. I guess we should. I guess we should talk
I'm
about
not hating on it.
Avengers vs. X-Men for a minute.
I don't know. I think. Go ahead. This is your world.
Oh, I got nothing.
My world?
Yeah.
My world. Okay, we're entering my world, evidently.
Well, Marvel said, issue 5, the shit goes down.
Yeah. To me, the general way they handled issue 5, like, there's so many things that I thought were just wrong with the direction they took this story, and I'm kind of hoping that recovers a little bit going forward. But hey, look, spoiler-filled podcast.
Yes.
I hated the big thing of, okay, we broke the Phoenix apart, so then it was absorbed by 5 mutants. So now there's 5
Well, let's
Phoenix Corps.
Well, let's catch.
No, it's
Dark X-Men.
No, it's Phoenix 5.
Hold on,
That's a cool name.
Let's catch people up here real quick. So 5 issues in, the X-Men and the Avengers are fighting. Okay, done. Okay,
On the moon.
Now they're fighting on the moon, right?
Yes, they moved it from Earth to the moon so they could fight on the moon.
Okay, now you're caught up. Okay, now
Yes.
so the Phoenix Force.
Then
yes.
basically Iron Man goes with some adapted technology and
In a big suit.
Yes.
No,
And
a big fucking robot suit. It was him and Giant Man.
It's called the Iron Gundam. Thank you.
Yes, that was
the
awesome.
Iron Gundam. The
Dude,
Iron
that was
Gundam goes and basically blows up the Phoenix.
It would have been awesome if it wasn't John Romita Jr. drawing it, because it looked like a G1. It looked like a G1 Transformer.
Yeah,
not
no,
like
I
some
totally no.
badass.
It didn't even look like a Transformer. It looked like a fucking GoBot. Yeah, like fucking Leader One.
Hey,
So
Yeah, sorry, bro.
Phoenix Force blows apart and then gets absorbed by, let's see, it was
GoBot?
Emma, Cyclops, Namor,
And then the 2 Ruskies.
Yeah. And they pretty much say, okay, well, Hope's not ready for the Phoenix, so we're going to go around and do the Phoenix's will on Earth.
Yes.
So who knows what exactly that means.
Hellfire Club.
But my general sort of frustration on this really stems from one, I don't like the Phoenix being inhabited by more than one person at a time.
Well, I'm just wondering when they get the rings. I mean, what color is it? I mean, red and yellow have already been taken. So Phoenix is now the new power ring, right? So
Well,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but here's the thing and I'm still reading pretty much all the tie-ins, and in one of the issues, it was X-Men Legacy, I think it was actually, they revealed that this wasn't the first time that the Phoenix had been broken apart and stuff.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't read that crossover yet.
Yeah, that crossover was like the guy that I can just say looks like Silver Surfer mixed, like merged with a surfboard guy.
yeah.
God, I hate.
Yeah.
This is that's not Legacy, is it? No, that's Uncanny.
Oh, maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, that's Uncanny.
I don't know, whichever crossover that was. But he's basically recanting the story of the previous time he was witnessed the Phoenix, which...
I do remember this. Yeah. Can I just say, before you go on, he may be the worst new design I've seen of a character in my entire life.
I would agree with that.
He's like a mermaid, except his bottom half is a Silver Surfer board, and his top half is like Rom the Space Knight.
Wait, is this guy that came down on the cover?
Yeah.
Like it's like a dick just penetrated to the bottom of the...
bottom half of him looks exactly like Silver Surfer's board, and the top half, he looks like Rom the Space Knight. And I don't understand what... It's a really bizarre design.
Yeah, the
really
design
don't
just
get
doesn't
it.
work.
He looks like a one of those old
It's a pogo stick.
like those old freaking ice cream bars that you'd get when the guy that drives around in the truck, like one of those weird wacky ice cream bars, like you're holding a stick and there he is, and it's strange. It's a really strange costume.
But, so evidently it wasn't necessarily just an effect of Iron Man blowing the Phoenix apart, which shouldn't have worked anyways.
Which wasn't that awesome though? It could have been such a great moment. Tony Stark's all, hey guys, did I kill the Phoenix? Like, wasn't that awesome? Like that he said that, and like I was all,
Bendis is totally trying to channel Romita, almost Romita Jr. The movie version. What the hell's his face?
Whedon?
No. The actor.
Tony Stark.
Robert Downey.
Robert Downey
totally
Jr.
does. Well, Fraction pulls it off too, right? Because he's obviously been writing Iron Man for such a long time. But I think what Fraction did, and I do connect, I hear what you guys are saying about the connection to the Lantern Corps. I think what he did was he tried to vibe off of the whole Deputy Lanterns, because that's what it felt like to me. But the problem there is they didn't have enough substance. They didn't have enough meat and potatoes. If you read, what is it? Not AVX, but Avengers vs. X-Men. Avengers versus X-Men,
The verse.
Versus book. The Versus book, where they say, "Oh, there's no plot." They should actually put that in also the other book too, because it really feels like there's no fucking plot.
And you know
it's entertaining though, but no plot.
Well,
It's just like porn.
Like,
Maybe they can put the plot in AR, so we can actually have to, read an actual plot instead of, Russian.
Yeah.
Now it's going to translate Russian, right?
I know, that's not fair, bro. Why don't you translate for me? Because you're the only one here that can understand the Russian, right?
No.
Oh.
Why do I have to that was one of the dumbest things I think I saw AR used for was hold it up to translate the Russian. I'm like, why don't you translate the Russian for me?
maybe for me,
there's like over 10 bubbles of this shit that I have to.
You're not.
See,
you're not wrong.
Are you talking about Black Widow and Ileana?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
To me, I didn't care what they were saying. It never occurred to me I should get this translated. It's just like what? I'm gonna just look at the pictures.
I didn't.
Right? Exactly.
Mind you round.
That was a big loss, though. Honestly, especially with the Dodsons on that shit, they should have done like some kind of Russian strip poker. Like they keep cutting each other's clothes off. It would be like an incredible, old school, Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, there's Avengers versus X-Men. They're still fighting.
Number 5 has taken.
Number 5 is not alive.
Yeah, number 5 didn't work for me, but I'm still holding out hope that in the end they'll make it make sense.
Wait, is Ramada off
Good use of hope.
the book now?
I don't know. I mean, this week, this issue comes up this week, 6. I mean, this is the halfway point, so I guess we'll see what's after this issue. Yeah, I thought there was rotating creative teams.
Obviously not.
Yeah, I guess not.
Because it's Bendis and Jr. and it sucks.
Yeah, so
Well, each the stories by 5 people, and they seem to be taking turns who's writing the individual issues.
it all sounds the same to me.
The Architects.
It all sounds the same to me.
Not even. I wouldn't even classify that.
But the question is, what voice do you hear in your head while reading it?
I hear Bendis.
I hear noise.
I always hear Bendis when I read this stuff. Yeah, I swear there was something else we were going to talk about, but I guess we can
Watchmen.
talk about Watchmen.
Before Watchmen.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So,
And we're not discussing the controversy. We're discussing the issues this time.
Mm-hmm.
so
There's
as-
controversy?
as many people may have heard or may not have heard, may not have heard actually, based on the sales. DC has decided to launch Before Watchmen, a series of miniseries by some of the best creators in DC Comics. Doing
Johns isn't doing any of them.
I think Toby is playing Angry Bird.
What version? Dude, that looks awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what
This is an incredible version of Angry Birds that zooms in and shit and does all this other stuff.
I think we've bored Toby beyond.
It's like a version I've never played before. I just turned it on and
It looks amazing, though.
Yeah.
How can you get
Got-
10,000 points in
it's got
one
like a
fucking
beach
hit?
chill. I'm kind of liking it.
Nice. Well, we'll try not to bore you too much, Toby. Join in here whenever you can.
Yes.
So this comic called Before Watchmen came out, which is done by some of the best creators
Well,
at DC.
comic series.
Right, it's a series of miniseries. There's a whole bunch of them. And the first issue came out last week, or 2 weeks ago. This past week, the first issue was Minutemen, was by Darwin Cook. This past issue was Silk Spectre, which was by how's her face?
Amanda Conner.
Amanda Conner, thank you.
There you go. Way to tag in, buddy.
One of Toby's favorite artists.
Hell yeah.
And I think we're getting Comedian #1 this week,
Yeah.
if I'm not
J.G.
mistaken.
Jones.
Yeah, he's sick. So far, people have liked him. I mean, reviewers have most people have liked it. I mean, people are
I
asking.
like the fact you finally qualified it with most.
Well, most. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure some people would be like, that was terrible. But most of the reviews I saw were fairly from fairly positive to very positive. Most people I've talked to in the store liked it. We actually gave away the first issue for the first 2 weeks, and I've got a lot of positive feedback from it, a lot of people subscribing for it. I was surprised at how few people had actually heard of it. And this, again, goes to show the point that even though Bleeding Cool and Comic Resources and Twitter and Facebook may have all this stuff, the amount of people that actually see it is very limited. I mean, I gave away about 150 copies, and I think only about 4 or 5 people mentioned anything about the controversy, quote unquote.
Controversy.
Yeah. And you seriously asking?
Yeah.
Have you not been on this podcast before?
Oh, that one.
The Alan Moore thing?
I thought
Yes.
there's a new controversy in the
No.
book story. And
No,
so
no,
I was
no.
like,
no,
wait,
no.
what?
That'll be later. That'll be later once the issue's
I was
actually
like,
out.
did I
Wait
miss
till the
something?
rape issue. I'm sure that'll. I'm sure that'll be big.
Yeah, there's not enough rape in comic books.
Well, it's going to happen. Well, it's Watchmen. I mean, it's a huge part of Silk Spectre's backstory, so they're going to do something with it. And yeah, I mean, and actually, I was surprised by how many people hadn't even heard of it. They're like, "Whoa, like a prequel to Watchmen?" And like they don't even know who wrote Watchmen the first time around. So it's like they had no idea that this was different. And this is the majority of my regular Wednesday customers who are in a comic store 52 weeks out of the year. Right, so it just goes to show how few people actually pay attention and care about this stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it's been good. Minutemen was great, fantastic first issue. It's a lot of setup, but Darwin Cook has a great way of just introducing characters. His art's amazing. It is just we're not very far into it. I haven't read Silk Spectre yet, but I heard really good things about it. So,
I'm actually ahead of Ryan for once.
Yeah, you're ahead of Ryan
Look at
for
that.
once.
Yeah.
That's a rarity.
So, what were your guys' takes on it?
My take is I would have no problem with Minutemen if it was an issue 0. But as an issue 1, I felt it fell really, really flat.
I feel it is an issue 1 for the entire series. This is kind of a
maybe it should have been a before Watchmen.
Before Watchmen
shot.
0.
Before Watchmen?
Sure.
Oh, no, before Watchmen?
Watching
exactly.
before Watchmen watches.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But no, the Silk Spectre issue was really good. I actually really liked that one. Mm-hmm. You should have given that one away. And
Plus, that's an Amanda Connor book.
yeah, see,
No, I actually
Toby agrees with me on this one.
I actually agree with Charlie in that the Minutemen book should have been a 0 or a before Watchmen 0.
Actually,
kind of
Minutemen should have been just a free issue to begin with, not a Ryan free issue. No, I really do think so. I really do.
That would have been good marketing.
Yeah, that would have been real. I mean, Ryan just kind of did the DC job. For him.
And I applaud Ryan for doing that. I mean, that was
I heard no applause.
Huh? Yay!
There we go. All right, let's keep it going. Okay.
You're still not going to get out of your motion, Sluck. So
I'm just gonna take this and like put it on like a recording and just like hit play when I walk into rooms.
You know what'd be funnier is if you recorded Brock putting his hand under the table and it's all motion.
Stop all of that.
It talks.
Continue.
Oh,
Yeah, but no, I
was
just
not right.
I thought the Silk Spectre issue had a lot of good story to it, and everybody knows I'm a story guy. But the art was really good in it too, and I would even say the art was really good in Minutemen as well. For somebody who's already read Watchmen and already is kind of familiar with the characters and everything, I just felt like Minutemen was almost just a reminder book.
Sure.
And as a reminder book, I kind of just it didn't get me excited to read more, which is what I was hoping from the very first issue that came out of it.
Well, one thing I think is interesting is both Darwin Cook and Amanda Connor have kind of mimicked the art style of Watchmen, a lot of the 9-panel layouts.
Well, not only that, but the panel work too.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, yeah. I don't see guys like J.G. Jones and Adam Hughes doing that. So it'll be
I don't
unless
know.
they're being told to.
Adam might surprise you. He likes the old school.
But I don't see their art style working in smaller frames. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
These guys are very kind of widescreen.
Well, Adam just has to throw a blue penis. So it can work depending how big that thing is.
But it'll be interesting to see.
I like it better when it's
Takes up the
turtling.
whole issue.
It'll be interesting to see.
Oh, God.
Done. Moving on. It'll be interesting to see how they do that. Brock.
I just visualized that, you bastard.
Brock, what's your take? What's your take on the book?
Excellent.
The Silk Spectre or
just know Adam Hughes is drawing it, and you know how he draws boobies, so you could just imagine the detail and the blue
meaty veins. Yeah,
Brock.
thanks.
Be a fold out for you.
Awesome.
Brock.
Wipe your mouth, Brock.
Everyone stop. What was your take on Before Watchmen so far?
Like Charlie said, the first issue, the Minutemen issue, I felt like it was the credit roll again from the film, where we just kind of got more of each person that we saw in the opening credits of the film. And which, I mean, I can totally relate if it's kind of refreshing you about these characters and being hey, these are the people we're talking about. With Silk Spectre, I really enjoyed the story and the character development that went on. It was a really, really good first issue. Kind of, we came in. It felt really, really nice. Honestly, from just these two issues, all I want them to do is take Before Watchmen off the thing. Like, if it was just Minutemen and if it was just Silk Spectre, I'd be like, cool. I'd be like wanting to read these. But because that Before Watchmen label is on there,
Yeah, but
It's
you want them to
marketing.
sell some books, though.
What?
yeah, but it's
I don't understand.
it doesn't need to be there. To me, it's Minutemen.
Not everyone's a freaking uber nerd like you.
Yeah,
and
not
knows
everybody
everything.
knows.
You know what I'm saying? So they got to.
Well, no, and that I understand, but it's even in the like actual.
You have
this
like
is what
the
it's called.
history, the archives, and mythos, and you're like a little comic book librarian.
No, I'm not.
Those are all
That's
compliments.
Charlie.
Those are all compliments.
Well, what about something like Seven Soldiers of Victory, which was the Grant Morrison book, which is the exact same layout, except they're almost the exact same layout, which is a miniseries, but they're all under the Seven Soldiers.
Well,
I mean, it's the same, but like, would you have just put that under Zatanna and Clarion and Manhattan Guardian and all that?
weren't they smart enough to at least launch that with just a Seven Soldiers book?
Yeah.
Well, they
And
did
they
Seven Soldiers 0 and 1, and then they had all the miniseries, but it was labeled as Seven Soldiers.
Yeah, but
Zatanna, Seven
that's
Soldiers.
off of this. This isn't. We're not off of Before Watchmen 0. We're off of Watchmen.
Okay.
So to me, these are stories about the comedian. These are stories about
Right.
Silk Spectre. I Before Watchmen just doesn't.
The way I look at it is the Before Watchmen label on it is the label. That's basically imprint.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, it's kind of like
that's branding.
The
I am-
Wildstorm universe had the Wildstorm thing on it.
Right, I mean,
I'm not going to read it because it doesn't have a Wildstorm thing on it.
Right, I'm not filing these books on the wall under W for Watchmen. I'm filing at the end of the DC universe and before Vertigo because it's its own imprint. Sure. So
And honestly, if they didn't put in the Before Watchmen, I guarantee there would be some people who wander up and go, I don't get it. Where does this fit in with the new 52?
yeah. Well,
That would be awesome.
If you have a series, I mean, before Watchmen is the best-selling American graphic novel of all time. Of course, it's going to be plastered over every issue. It's called marketing. So,
Well, no, I understand that, but like interior wise, it's labeled as that, and to me, it's kind of It should just be Silk Spectre.
what a bizarre nitpick.
Brock is just Brocken.
I guess he's Brock.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so Omar, what did you think?
Yeah, Omar, what's your?
I'm intrigued from all of your guys' reviews on it because it's still in my pile of 10 books I haven't read from the last 3 weeks. And
10?
it's not. That's,
What are you, a girl? What
know,
the
right?
heck? I got like 500. Okay,
No,
let's get
okay,
this
that's
going.
exactly it.
Actually, that was
In
a
the
really,
last 3 weeks?
that was a really sexist comment of me. So girls read comics too. So sorry.
You've
go
been
ahead.
pissed off at chicks ever since that Catwoman 0 thing.
I'm not mad at girls.
Leanne, handle it.
Oh, she already yelled at me for that. So we're not talking Catwoman number 0 though. Go on, Omar. So what's your okay? So, but I mean, you're buying these, right?
Oh,
You're
yeah,
down?
I'm buying them. It's
Okay.
smart marketing. I want to see what they're doing. Watchmen is such a big brand. Watchmen is to some people outside the comics world, they know what Watchmen is. They don't know what DC Comics is.
Right. Right.
Which is sad, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
So it's smart that they did it. When they did their whole little rebranding, relogo, you even saw like a fucking Watchmen, version of the logo, and I was like, sick. And look, that's what they did with it, because I didn't think we knew about Before Watchmen back then, right?
Not officially.
So
No.
I'm looking forward to reading them. Incredible creators. I mean, I'm all about the creators. So the characters can be as great as the creators make them. So I'm going to be on them, and I'm looking forward to reading them.
Oh, cool. Well, there's another big book coming up in a couple weeks.
How about Toby?
He doesn't care about my
Oh,
opinion.
so wait, no. I'm sorry. You started to talk when we went off. Toby, what's your take?
Oh, no, I like him.
Okay, good. Now that we're done with that, let's go on.
And I get shit for nitpicking.
Yeah, I just won't read anymore. The one time I actually read him on time.
Don't let Ryan.
That's all right.
Don't let Ryan have that
That's all
effect.
right.
Of
He doesn't
power
wanna
you
hear it.
overpower
Kill
you.
this guy's mic over here.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
joking. No, you started to talk and they went off, and that's why I went to Brock. We never. You didn't actually get to say what you were
No,
going to say.
that's cool. I'm
No,
done.
no.
I wanna hear
I
it.
kinda said it.
Hey,
I'm
listen, hey,
totally
Toby.
joking, Toby. No.
No, I
Hey,
kind of covered
hey,
all the points.
Hey, fuck Ryan. I want to hear what you have to say.
They covered all the points, though. I mean, the Minutemen I felt should be a free, not a comics conspiracy for free. It should have just been a free issue just to introduce it. But I do think it needed to happen. It's you have to reintroduce people to that world, and some people probably haven't read Watchmen in so long that they needed that.
Actually, that's not only is that a really good point, I was surprised by how many people that I told it to. They're like, yeah, I never actually read Watchmen. To this day.
Yeah.
I mean, gave it to.
So many people still haven't read Watchmen. Regular Wednesday shoppers.
Watchmen is the one book that I probably gave out to like 15 people.
Yeah.
Because I said, you must read it. You must know what the comics world is about by reading this book. And those people that I gave it to, just because it was fucking free, they loved it and they passed it on.
Cool.
That's just like one of those books.
Yeah.
I kind of did with Hush too, but mostly Watchmen.
Well, we've talked about Minutemen, we've talked about Silk Spectre, but what about the pirate story? Nobody's mentioned
That's
What's
a
the
very
take on
good art.
It's
like the art
two.
in that
Yeah,
story.
it's like 4 pages.
Yeah, we're 4 pages in.
Yeah.
We can't really say anything yet.
The art is nice.
But Toby, I
That's what I
mean,
can say.
you're obviously big in the art. What are you looking forward to the most, art-wise?
Oh, Adam doing interiors after how many years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I like Adam a lot.
Do you assume they have finished his entire run already?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Is that suicide?
No?
They're just...
No, I think
They're
he can
just
do it.
gambling?
No, I think he can do it. He's doing one book.
Yeah, Jim Lee was doing one All-Star
Yeah, but Jim
Batman.
Lee's a busy man.
And
Jim Lee's a busy man.
and Frank Miller is doing one book. And,
Yeah,
and
but Jim
Nate
Lee's
Simpson's
running,
doing
Jim
one
Lee's
book.
running DC though.
I like how
non-player.
Toby just keeps focusing on Jim Lee. Ryan names another name. He says Jim Lee. Ryan names another name. Toby says Jim Lee.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
But-
no, I hope. I mean, they're doomed if a book doesn't ship late. If a book ships late or a book doesn't
but,
ship.
Yeah.
screwed.
Well, we'll see what happens, but and who knows? Maybe he changes his art style a little bit. You never know.
That'd be cool.
It might not be what everybody is expecting it to be.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the Minutemen. I always liked Darwin's old school kind of feel to it, and it's perfect for the book. I think. Still, Spectre was awesome. And it has an old school feel because Darwin's writing that one, so it has the old school feel to it. The panel work, the kind of in dedication of the old Watchmen book. I like that. Amanda's always awesome. So so far no complaints. I mean, nothing great. I don't have anything to rave about. Both are kind of more like intro issues. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, so early.
Yeah, it's so early. There's nothing really to say
Yeah.
yet. But I'm looking forward to the run, and it's because of the creators I'm here. I wouldn't have cared if these creators aren't here.
They knew that.
Yeah.
They had to get the best of the best.
Yeah. And I actually my most enjoyable bit was in the end of one of the books is how they got Adam. It was like one of the editors wrote the story out how they were like, "Oh, Adam, we got to get you off All-Star Wonder Woman." No, not happening. It's my favorite book. And he kind of wrote Dr. Manhattan on a little note and kind of passed it over, slid it over, and he opened it and he goes, "What?" So I kind of like that story.
Huh.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I read that was funny.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Like, Adam, we got something you can't say no to. No way I'm doing Wonder Woman. There's no way I'm going to say, something no to it. Slid it over. That's kind of cool.
Well, there's another big book coming out this year. Possibly the biggest book of the year. Well, we won't know till it ships. Today was actually the last day for ordering, so we may know tomorrow. Walking Dead number 100 comes out in a couple weeks. That would be July 11th.
Mm-hmm. Anybody betting that won't be the biggest book of the year hasn't looked at how many covers there are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll not be the biggest book of 2012 by a single issue cover, or by a single diamond order code, but taking the combined 8 standard covers, the chromium cover, which is $10, and then the 1 in 200 variant cover, and combining all those numbers together. Of the first printing, yes, it'll be the biggest book of the year. So Walking Dead number 100 is coming out. It's actually being released the day Comic-Con starts, or preview night. So that's July 11th. Huge push for this. I'm mentioning this.
That's really weird.
Well, there's going to be a huge push for Walking Dead at Comic-Con as well, including their outdoor little obstacle course thing and all this other stuff they're doing. Have you seen this?
No?
They're doing like a Walking Dead, like become the Walking Dead obstacle course.
Like that show, the Japanese show with the balls dropping on you?
Yeah. So
I'm so in, dude. Omar, me and you.
Yeah.
Except
And
it's going to be a race.
And if you get bit by a zombie, then they make you a zombie and you can participate.
Oh, even better.
I think it's if you win.
Oh, really?
I think if you get to the end, then they let you go
What
in
kind
the
of,
thing and be a
is it like
zombie.
water? Do you have to is it like Wipeout?
I don't know.
That would be awesome.
It's a whole baseball park right there.
Wow.
Yeah, MXC.
Yeah.
So I
Zombie
know what we're
MXC.
doing for day one
Zombie
of Comic-Con.
MXC. This is going to be so awesome.
But Bleeding Cool has
Bring
had
my shorts.
Bleeding Cool has had some estimates at 300,000 copies for all the different covers. That puts it at about the numbers of Avengers vs. X-Men and JLA #1 from last year.
Which is crazy. It's an image book.
At including multiple printings. I know I've ordered about 4 times my initial order of Justice League #1 of Walking Dead number 100. Now, it's because of the multiple covers. That's purely the reason why. We're talking about this for 2 reasons. One, I want to talk about this, but 2, I also want to pimp our Walking Dead 100 release party, which is going to be Tuesday, July 10th, here at the store. 6 p.m. till whenever, till we're done, till the zombies come and get us. We're going to be having food and drinks, 21 up, please. We're going to have classic zombie movies playing all day, as well as the entire Walking Dead Blu-ray playing all night. We're going to have the regular 8 issues for $24.99. I think that's 20% off. We're going to have the 8 issues plus the chromium cover, which is normally $10, for $32.99. We're going to have, depending if they don't sell, probably a couple copies of the 1 in 200 variant cover. You can actually buy these all right now through our site at comicsconspiracy.biz. You can buy the set online through PayPal. We have a link right there on the front page. You can buy them and pre-purchase them there. You can buy them and have them shipped. There's a shipped option as well. It's like $5 to ship or something like that. So if you don't live locally, you can have these shipped out. There's also a link to the eBay auction that we have our 1 in 200 covers. It's actually a collection of all the covers, so you can go check that out too if you want one of those. I don't want to pimp that too hard, but I will pimp it. But the fact that The Walking Dead is going to sell this many with this many covers. When I was down to San Diego, when I was down in L.A. at the DC Retailer Convention party thing for the New 52 books, I think I mentioned this on the air a few times, but I'll say it again in case I haven't. We pitched to DC for Justice League #1, have each character have their own cover from Jim Lee, 7 covers, right? Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Like a gatefold cover, right? When you put them all together, all of it by Jim Lee, and we were like, look, we're going to order like 200 copies, 300 copies of this book. If you do these covers, we will order 200 or 300 of each cover. There were about 3 or 4 stores that went to DC with this, and they're like, no. And look what's happening. They could have sold, I would not have doubted 500,000 to 750,000 copies. They probably would have tripled. They probably would have tripled their number easy.
Look, DC is not greedy. Oh.
No, I think.
Oh, look, they didn't cash in on money.
I think at that point, they were too paranoid because of the New 52 coming out. They were like, "Oh, this is already
they
too
know
scary.
they could have cashed in.
We don't want to push the envelope too much."
But they were just too busy
they're not as
going-
greedy as you think they are.
DC, I think, missed a perfect opportunity to do this. When Marvel reboots their universe after AVX, I guarantee
But
you're
DC saved us a bunch of Brock talk.
Yeah, I know. I guarantee you're going to get 24 different Avengers covers, one for each member of the team or something like that. So, because Marvel's going to be #1 always. So, Walking Dead #100, there's going to be a crap load of copies everywhere. Well, this will be interesting to see if stores that went big on all of them. Because I ordered like 800 copies plus the variants and crap like that. I was going to order like 100. I was going to order 100 total, which is about 2.5 times our normal number. And then when I saw all the covers and it was like, oh, promo pack and oh, the big exclusive variants, this is how they get these big numbers ordered. So very smart on Image, very stupid on DC, and
well, very smart on Image as long as you save it for stuff like Walking Dead 100 and
right,
don't try
Spawn 300 or something came out.
Spawn 200 it was.
I ordered no copies because I sell no copies of Spawn. Like, I do not have a subscriber for Spawn. I do not sell a shelf copy of Spawn.
When was the last time Image did a multi-cover issue? I mean, the last thing I can remember was like Gen 13-1.
Image or Spawn, like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, it sold really well. I guess because every store that ordered Spawn ordered a bunch, but like I didn't order any.
How many cover was it though? Because they've done the 2 cover thing here and there, right?
They've done the big multiple covers for all the 100 issues of Spawn, so 100, 200, but they did it randomly now. I don't know why. I think because McFarlane took over for the 9th time or something.
He took over again, and they did some variant covers, but nobody reads Spawn. I mean, I tried getting back into Spawn with that Endgame story arc when McFarlane was back in, and that was horrific. And then, it's just it depends on what it is. You know, if you have Walking Dead 100, this is the time to do it. If you have, Justice League #1, that was the time to do it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's always a gamble, which is why I think DC didn't do it, was because they were already doing something that big, adding on to
printing money, man.
And
Printed
also,
money.
I want to, jump on this too. Is Walking Dead itself again? How I compared it with, I compared Watchmen and the DC brand, the 2 brands, from the mainstream audience, the mainstream, people out there that don't read books or will never read a comic book that love Walking Dead. They're gonna probably pick. A lot of them have jumped on books and they're reading, and you see that in the store. I think all of you guys do.
And it kind of I don't know what it is about that particular genre or the way it's being approached, but like a lot of times you kind of just go, okay, there's a new superhero cartoon on television. It's not like the fact that there's people always know they can come to a comic shop and find a Spider-Man cartoon.
Sure.
So I don't
Comic book.
Well, yes, they can find the cartoon and no.
I think he means the kid version
not
is a
just saying.
cartoon.
But like when the Spider-Man movies came out, you would always see a little bit of a bump in sort of the Spider-Man sales, but it would always kind of taper off. And I haven't really seen anything, even like with Smallville and stuff. I don't feel like it drove people into the shops going, I want to buy a Superman comic book because I like Smallville. It's almost like because people already knew that was in comic shops.
Sure,
and
sure.
It didn't really drive sales at all. Yet for some reason, especially on The Walking Dead, like everybody talks about The Walking Dead show. Everybody immediately tells them the comic book is better. They say, holy crap, there's a comic book. They immediately go find the comic to read and get instantly hooked.
Yeah.
I think it's because Walking Dead is the story itself is not about the zombies. It's not tied to the horror genre in a sense of we're focusing more on in that story on the people, on what's happening, on the aftermath. And it's not like, oh, we see exploding buildings and all this rubble and all this stuff. No, we're dealing with these people are just trying to survive. Food, shelter, protection, all that. That's the core of what the book is.
I'm just saying that in general, if DC had done those multiple covers, I'm not saying that it didn't bring in a lot of like. I didn't get the impression, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just the impression I got, that the New 52 brought back in a lot of people who were already reading comic books or read comic books before. It kind of brought in people who were interested in what they were doing, but I don't really get the impression that it permeated beyond that sort of community.
Sure, yeah.
They were existing or former superhero comic fans.
Versus Walking Dead, I mean,
That's a much more casual.
It's a whole different crowd.
Right, completely different.
Hugely different crowd, and they're just as fanatical, though.
It's a fucking cash cow.
Well, and this is why I always think it's so funny.
That's what Walking Dead is.
And I'm a huge superhero fan, obviously. Almost, not want to say exclusively, but mostly a superhero fan. But I always thought it was kind of funny that superhero comics were defined as mainstream comics, and things like, I don't know, Walking Dead, but things like Echo or things like Bone are considered alternative, when really that's the mainstream, and superhero stuff is really alternative because it's very stylized and very specific. So we have to sort of wrap up here because we're going to be running really long on time. So
that's okay. I'll just go outside and talk for another 30 minutes.
What we are going to do now, although not comic books, but we all had something to say about it. We are going to be talking about a movie that came out a couple weeks ago called Prometheus. We don't normally do this for not comic book movies, but whatever. Since it is kind of very spoiler heavy, we're going to put this after the cut because people don't care about Owlman coming back, but Prometheus spoils people really care about. So we're going to put this after the credits and everything like that. So if you haven't seen Prometheus or you want to hear us talk, we'll have this here. If you hate Prometheus and never want to hear anything about it again, you can shut it off now.
We're doing extra credit.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So we're going to talk some Prometheus.
And you can associate it with comics because Dark Horse put out plenty of aliens.
That's sure. We'll get to that.
And aliens killed Stormwatch.
Way to spoil everything. Prometheus is not about aliens.
They did?
It's over. So let's end the podcast here. Thank you, everyone, for listening and continuing listening in a few minutes for our Prometheus spoiler talk. If you want to listen to this episode or more, go to www.geekbox.net. You can go to forums.geekbox.net and talk to people there about all the comic stuff. Brock's giving me the finger.
No, that's for the first episode. If you have to go to Geekbox. You can't go on iTunes, right?
What I understand is iTunes has the iTunes only stocks 50 episodes of a podcast.
Okay.
So for anything prior to 12, you're going to have to go on the forum. You're going to have to go on the site for that. So
you just need to launch a new sub-podcast to start from number 1 so people can start.
No, we'll just leave that. We'll do the Comic Conspiracy 2.
Just call it the new 50 and go from there.
We'll just continue that one so that the original will be left alone.
It'll be the first 50.
We'll remaster them and recolor them and reissue them. So put them in a nice
We can all come back
hardcover,
as black people.
slipcase.
No. We'll record commentary over them.
Commentary of our commentary.
You suck.
Well, we already talk all over each other anyway, so no one will even notice. Anyway, so go to forums.geekbox.net. You can go there. www.comicsconspiracy.biz is the site, and that's where you want to go if you're interested in those Walking Dead covers. They'd be super awesome. Jim's ready to pre-order his. So, and if you're in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Sunnyvale, San Jose-ish Bay Area, on June or July 10th, which is that Tuesday, come down for our party. It'll be super awesome. So,
and let all your zombie friends know.
Yes,
especially if they're zombies.
Yes, if they like brains, we want them here.
Or makeup artists, come on,
Yeah, that'd be cool too. So there is a couple things we were trying to get going for this. I'm not sure what the plan is, but if something happens, we'll let people know. Worst case, there's going to be free booze, so have fun with that.
Sweet.
I'd be willing to bet there'll be a couple of zombies.
That'd be awesome. You can go to conspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog. He has some stuff on there. Yes. You can go to Comics in Decline. It's on our site.
Yes.
You can go listen to the Infinite Long Box, Charlie's other site. Oh, I cannot forget to mention that I will be on the All Talk podcast, which is one of the podcasts done by our community members on the Geekbox forums. They are doing I mentioned this before, a weekly Twin Peaks podcast where they go through all the episodes of Twin Peaks. They actually just finished with the finale. They're going to be doing like a retrospective and a look back at Fire Walk with Me, the movie prequel, since we're talking about movie prequels. And I'm going to be on that this Thursday. I don't know when it goes up. It may actually not go up till Saturday.
So you're letting them know that they can skip this one?
But we're recording on Thursday. So I think check Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure what day that actually goes up. But it's called the All Talk Podcast. If you like David Lynch, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, I will be on there for that. So that'll be fucking awesome because I do love me some Twin Peaks. Let's see what else. We're all on Twitter. Ryan Higgins Ryan, Brock Sager, Comics of the Kind. Silent Toby over there, Toby XI, and he's got a lot to say about Prometheus. So he's got a lot to say about Prometheus. So
I don't know. You might skip me.
Hopefully.
Don't be butthurt.
Hopefully.
Don't be butthurt.
And
I didn't get my turn to Walking Dead.
And
I didn't get my turn to Walking Dead.
What? Jesus! You're gonna jump in here. Just jump in. Just jump in.
Throw the bottle at him.
Yeah, quit being the quiet Asian.
And Insanity and Chaos is Charlie here. So
I
yeah,
skip my Twitter.
Yeah,
so,
you did.
No,
he said table
I said you.
Toby XI.
God, now you're making me.
Got him to do it twice.
Now you're getting me all paranoid. Here.
There's a mess.
Great. Now everyone's going to think we're pushing Toby out.
Okay.
We are not pushing Toby.
So, all right, we'll end this here. Listen if you want to hear us talk, and if not, we'll talk to everyone next week.
Hopefully you put in some like cool alien music in between.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Or do some fucking MC Hammer. You can't touch this. It's like the 20th anniversary or some shit.
Do the trailer music that boom, boom.
Maybe I will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
That's actually a good idea. Or do the sound of alien jizz.
Brock's balls just go blah.
So we
they called me to have that noise made. Mine are so big.
Thank God all this is getting edited on the podcast.
I can tell it is. It's not going to make it.
So a movie came out called Prometheus. Came out a couple weeks ago. Directed by a man named Ridley Scott, who did a bunch of movies, including movies like Blade Runner and the original Alien movie,
Legend,
1979.
Kingdom of Heaven.
Written by Damon Lindelof,
Gladiator.
known for Star Trek and Lost, and a bunch of other stuff that I love.
Wolverine vs. Hulk, one of the best books.
Yeah, it's all right.
I loved it. It's fucking awesome.
It started really strong.
Lionel Yu, right? Did
Yeah.
the art? Yeah. It took about 9 years for the third issue to come out, but that's fine.
That's okay. It started with Wolverine getting ripped in half.
It gave us what we wanted for so long.
This is
Half
a movie.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
This is a movie that has. So Prometheus. Like I said, we don't normally talk about non-comic movies, but this is a movie that I think deserves some talking about. And we all have a lot to say, so let's get to it because I don't want this podcast to go too long. Kind of make it quick. But this movie caused a lot of controversy among fans of the Alien franchise. This is a sequel / prequel / origin / whatever to.
Spin-off.
Some people love it. Some people hate this movie. Some people want to see Damon Lindelof's head cut off. I love him. He's great. So hopefully that never happens. I
think people didn't get over Lost, so still on him.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I know my opinion. I actually know everyone's opinion. Charlie hasn't seen it yet. I don't.
But I'm here anyways.
Yeah, but you're okay. Jim hasn't seen it yet.
Close your ears.
I sort of know
Earmuffs.
Toby's opinion. I don't know Omar's opinion. I want to hear Omar's opinion
Okay.
on this. So
Here we
let's
go.
hear it.
Let's
hear
do
it.
this. I think it's definitely one of the best 80s like retro chic films that have come out. It's better than A-Team. It's better than
What?
What is some other 80s films?
Hey, wait, we gotta talk about this one.
started.
Like, all the different
What?
I'm going to package the 80s because it's so fucking popular right now. Ashton wash jeans are back. Everyone's tapering their pants.
You know-
fucking hipsters.
Is that Hot Tub
A-Team
Time
was
Machine?
freaking awesome.
Hold on. Before
Yes.
you go into this, can I just say, I want to thank you for this opinion
Yes.
that you're telling me right now
Yes.
because this is something that I will touch upon in a few minutes.
Sure,
So
sure.
so thank you for actually
No,
having,
no thank you. No,
because
this
I don't
is
know
fucking
because,
A-Team.
because
People-
I don't know I actually don't know anyone that's kind of come at it from this perspective. And thank you for coming in
because
like, at it like
anybody that has watched films, especially watched Alien, and you watch the plot lines, you see how the characters react. It's all done in that way, in that style. It's very stylistic, this film. And for me, from that standpoint, so fucking entertaining. I loved it. Yeah, you get pissed off at why certain people do certain things and everything, but it's fucking like,
I'm not pissed off.
it's like Friday the 13th.
Brock might be.
After they started effing, why are they going to go outside when they hear noises?
Can I just say this
Yeah.
for those that have seen it, you'll get it. For those that haven't seen it, you won't get it.
Yes.
There's an answer to everything, and that answer is Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I've
So
never seen Cabin in the Woods.
we now
so-
have the answer.
Yeah,
so
I haven't
that
seen that either.
has no one else here seen this?
Why would we watch Cabin in the Woods?
Josh
No,
Whedon.
but honestly,
yeah.
no, everyone is
There's-
telling me, though, has said
Yeah.
that it's like the
I do
fucking
wanna
one
see
movie
it.
you have to see in the theater. I haven't seen
Yeah.
it yet.
Charlie,
wanna
you have
see
not seen Cabin in the Woods?
Nope.
You know this is by Joss Whedon, right?
Yes, I am aware of that. And yes, I realize that I should be very, very
Okay.
ashamed.
Okay.
Don't you know Thor's in there, too?
Okay.
Yes, I'm
you have
aware of
not
that
seen
too.
this. Ryan Scott, supreme leader of the Geek Box, has not seen Cabin in the Woods. What is wrong with
I
you
don't
people?
know. I don't know if it's really Josh Whedon's. I want to say I heard somewhere that his script got pretty butchered on that
It's
one.
Joss Whedon, and I'm totally blanking on the
Well,
guy's
you
name.
wrote the original story, right?
Oh, right, but he had a lot to do with it. It's Joss Whedon and the guy that did Cloverfield, and I'm totally forgetting. Okay, well, apparently I can't have this conversation, but the answer to everything you just said was Cabin in the Woods.
Predictable, follows a structure.
You don't.
so on and so forth.
You have no idea what Cabin in the Woods is about
Why don't you enlighten?
No,
because
they'll
that's
ruin everything.
No,
You don't want to
because
hear
that
it.
ruins the entire
Yeah.
movie.
In fact,
You don't
I
wanna do
think
that.
the trailer ruined some stuff too.
I never watched a trailer. That trailer does ruin every. I saw the trailer afterwards. That trailer ruins the movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, then that makes no
I'm
sense.
glad
But
I
people,
never watched the trailer
but
either.
people listening, if you're wondering why Charlize Theron doesn't turn right and walk forward 5 steps,
It's because she's a. Can I say it?
Cabin in the Woods.
Can
Okay,
I say
but going ahead.
Yeah.
She's
So-
not an alien, or she's
No,
not a
she's an
robot.
android.
She's not an android.
No.
I think she is.
No, she's not.
I don't
she's
think
not.
so.
I think she is.
They want you to think she
She's
is.
she's so beautiful, though.
I don't think she
I
is.
was really sad and disappointed when that dude from The Wire didn't get to F her, and we got to see her naked
Wire?
because that would have
Oh.
been shit. That
you
would
know,
like
you know
that
why
would like
Prometheus is the baddest freaking spaceship out there is because freaking Stringer Bell is piloting it.
yes, exactly. Props on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so
These
many.
guys have no idea what we're talking
It was
about.
an
right
incredible. It was an incredible ensemble cast. I mean, everyone had their part and played it, and just from what I hear. Okay, and I wasn't. This is from a friend of mine. There was a lot of puppet work, OG puppet work in this done. It wasn't just CG.
That's cool.
Different scenes that made you not want to eat sushi ever again.
Well, with the dolphin, squid, octopus, weird thingy coming out.
Yeah, they're talking about the cesarean scene.
Yeah, that was
That actually
fucking
gave it the R rating.
Amazing. Oh my god, that
Higgins actually could not watch that scene.
Oh no, he had sushi after.
Well, we'll talk about it in a minute.
it was just like Wicked City. It's like everything was anime. Want to stick something in your mouth and it goes through your mouth and everyone just got nightmares, and that's how you felt. And this film is like fucking. It's just a real great movie going experience that anybody can go and watch if they're into horror thrillers and the genres.
So you're telling that movie turned everybody gay?
Huh?
Not necessarily turn them gay, but it did make them think, hey, alien jizz is the fucking cure. That's what we need to do. We need to go out and find some aliens so we can have babies for people that can. Okay.
Is that in Cabin in the Woods too?
Joby.
What? No,
You were actually the first to see it because you saw like a sneak preview of it.
Yeah.
You saw it you're the
Do you
only one
remember?
that saw it in 3D, I think.
I watched it in 3D. I loved it in 3D.
Let's hear it.
It's one of the few times. It's one of the very, very few times I actually liked it in 3D. I think Avatar didn't bother me in 3D. Hugo didn't bother me in 3D. And this movie. All the rest are not worth in 3D. Unless they're cartoons. Yeah.
Well, I heard
No,
that
I mean,
opinion too.
what is the? Give me your take on the whole thing.
My take? I really liked it. And it's very interesting to see that it's a very big divide between the people. Either people thought it was very deep, or people thought it was not deep at all. It's very interesting, and I feel like it's really depends on where they are spiritually, and how they look at things, how to look at
sure.
stories and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I really liked it. I really liked it. And then I a lot of people going, there's so many questions. To me, not really. I mean, things just kind of made sense to me. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, the more we go in detail, I have things to say about it. I mean, I don't know if we're going to break it down in scenes here, but we can do that too. I mean, I can talk about this movie. If you guys want to go down scenes,
Well,
I'll talk.
Let's just do
Well, I
Prometheus
wanted to
the
kind of get
movie.
a quick little thing from everyone. Brock, give me your minute, and then I'll start discussing, and we'll just jump in.
Cool.
We'll keep it when I want to go forever.
Let's
here,
just say this is a movie you might find out more the more you watch, or the more you go into it.
Yeah.
And talk about it with other people.
And there's a lot of subtle things, and that's what Ridley Scott is always known for. He does a lot of subtle things.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be in your face.
Brock, give me your quick.
The movie's awesome.
Okay.
I mean, it's people are you tagged it as a prequel, a spin-off, whatever. It's a creation story. It is.
We'll get into that.
Well, I'm not saying it's a creation story in the sense of like overall grand scheme of things. I'm saying though it's a creation story in the sense of this is showing us the creation story for this world that we've seen in Alien, in this science fiction world that has spawned movies, comic books, video games. This is where it came
It's
from.
been a kind of a trend lately.
Yeah.
Batman Begins, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
we keep
Everything
going
80s.
on. Yeah.
But this film though. This film though
I didn't diss it. I just said it wasn't as good.
Dude, it's rocking, dude. It doesn't. I mean, to me, that doesn't.
All I
fit
have
the
is
same
the A-Team
category.
theme song in my head right now.
It
That's
doesn't
all
go
I
in the
got.
same
Cool. It's like you
category.
said, we all see different things.
Yeah.
There's all different colors of the rainbows.
All right. Well, let me throw
Sorry,
out some.
Brock. Keep going.
It's okay.
My bad.
It's all good.
Well, let me throw out some things here, and we can talk about this.
Oh, let Brock finish. I'm sorry, I cut him off.
No. It's more of a like what can we discuss in the film, because I think that's really what the film does. Is it gives you a great like just topic for discussion where it's not necessarily, it doesn't just stick with
Which is
the
nothing
film.
new to Damon Lindelof.
No.
I got about 3 or 4 points that I want to hit here on this movie, and we'll
did
use
you like
each as
it?
we'll use each as a jumping off point.
Let's do this.
But before I do that, I fucking love the movie. It's not the best movie ever made. It's not the best sci-fi movie ever made. I think the movie was really well done. First of all, beautiful. One of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen in my life. Just amazing visuals. Everything looked perfect. I love, like you said,
And the cast of beautiful people.
Eh,
For some reason, all the smart people are beautiful in the future.
well,
Yeah,
that's
they
fine.
look like models.
I love that fucking Scottish geographer. That guy was my favorite.
Oh,
characters.
the crazy guy?
Yeah, with little dogs. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is showing, I think, like digital and IMAX only. I mean, this huge screen, super loud volume, everything was beautiful looking. There's a scene in the movie where a lady performs a cesarean section on herself. I couldn't deal with it. So
It's
actually
not even a cesarean. It's an abdominal surgery.
Sure, I had to use the bathroom really bad. So as she was talking, after
Droop something?
you find out she was pregnant or whatever, like I ran out. No, I have a bladder like an infant. Okay.
Oh, he did droop.
So, bladder, urine.
Yeah,
He didn't shard, bro. He just said he pissed.
Can he come out?
Okay.
So when
I want to know.
So I rush in, rush out. Do my thing, and come back out. So I'm gone like 2 seconds, and like urinating on the hallway on my way there because I hate using the bathroom during movies. But seriously, like Lord of the Rings: Return of the King was the only movie I think I've ever held it the entire way, and it was like I thought it was going to explode. I thought a chest burster was going to kind of come out of my stomach at the end of that thing. So yes, I see. Yes, I don't want to pee in your bottle. Thank you.
It's just offering.
So
They have disposable catheters. Right?
when I came back, I kind of sat down and I'm like, okay, they're gonna get, she's pregnant. The things inside of her run out. And I'm like, all right. And all of a sudden, man, once she cut herself open, I can't deal with surgeries. I'm fine with like cartoony gore and violence, but like super methodical cutting and tearing and open her stomach and they start pulling the thing out of her.
The laser actually cauterizes and you see the cauterization and no blood. And
once the face hugger got about halfway out of her stomach, I just went, nope. And my face just turned white. And I just like, okay, gotta look at my cell phone, gotta pretend I'm not looking at the screen, gotta distract myself so I don't vomit on the guy in front of me. Like, I almost lost
hate to
it.
see that.
Not to lose your train of thought on this, but this film, from people that have seen it, that I've talked to, because it's definitely garnered a lot of acclaim and people have jumped in the theaters to watch it because of what other people have said through word of mouth.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what my dad told me about Exorcist. Like, the first time they watched Exorcist in the theater and people were like throwing up in the theater.
Yeah, totally.
They looked away. Yeah.
Totally.
Or people pissing their pants. Like, this is a film that actually can create that type of emotional response and physical response. Like, it's fucking that powerful.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I loved it. But like I said, I get some of the problems people have with this movie.
Yeah.
But to me, when I go into movies, I'm usually super open. I like every piece of garbage I ever see. But this movie, I don't think deserves a lot of the hate that it's getting. And there's a couple points I want to bring up, and we'll kind of talk about some of these.
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting
Tons
tons
of Damon Lindelof hate.
ton
Yeah.
of hate.
What?
So first, I think Damon Lindelof being involved caused a lot of people to probably dislike this thing right out the gate. And I'll bet dollars of donuts that this caused this. A lot of it. Not a lot of it.
Yeah,
Some of it.
Sure.
Damon Lindelof, and at the finale of Lost, I know a lot of people were unhappy with it, but I think, like Toby said, it depends what you bring into it and what you take out of it.
Yep.
I love the end of Lost. As I'm going to be on a Twin Peaks podcast, I love weird random shit that maybe not really explained, and you kind of have to just come up with your own answers.
Sure.
Lost did a lot of that. This movie did a ton of that.
Tons of that.
And you can really take away what you want with it. I think one of the biggest problems going in, I mentioned this to a customer who said, no, it's not like that at all, but I think he was dead wrong. I think half the people wanted 2001: A Space Odyssey. They wanted this very deep, emotional, hard sci-fi look at the biggest question of all of humanity is where do we come from? Who are we and where do we come?
Yeah.
The other people wanted 2 hours of aliens bursting out of people's chests and massive gore and violence
Face huggers and egg
they wanted 2 hours of aliens, right? The people that wanted deep, introspective, philosophical and scientific and religious questions didn't get enough. The people that wanted 2 hours of action didn't get enough. I think both of those camps, plus the camp that are just going to hate it because Damon Lindelof's involved, and they felt like Lost was, their bandwagon jumping on the end of Lost hating. These groups of people represent what I believe to be a large portion of the people that didn't like the movie. Now, I'm not going to say that's everyone. I'm not going to say it's, maybe even 60%, but I would guess that this has a lot to do with it, that people kind of came in with these preconceived notions, and they're like, where's the alien? Oh, what's this? Why is there an alien now? Like, I think people really went into this expecting something completely different than what they got.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. And it was a film that if you went in with certain expectations, those expectations weren't going to be met completely. But if you went in as knowing that this film was I went in going, it's a Ridley Scott movie, sold, done.
Well, here's something. So when this movie was first being talked about, I'm like, oh, cool, a prequel to Aliens. And everything I've read and everything I've heard since was that this actually was going to be a direct, full-on aliens within the first few minutes of the movie, blah, 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 really heavily on the aliens. And Damon Lindelof kind of changed it. He's like, well, let's have it sort of. This was on, I think, on that Kevin Smith interview.
So
on
what
Hulu.
Damon basically contributed was, if it's a direct prequel, we all know where it's going. Where's the surprise in that? Where's the fun in that? We all know, it's just like basically watching a script and moving where everybody knows where it's going to end.
And this is the episode 1, 2, and 3 problem. Is everyone knew the end of Star Wars, or everyone knows the beginning of Star Wars, so they know where those movies are going to end. So there's no questions. Like it's kind of like, eh.
Now, Damon's point of view was, like, if we're going to have this birth child, why, it doesn't have to go directly there. We could have something that goes before that, yes, it will go where everybody else is thinking it's going to go, but also, on the other hand, we got this other child that's going to start up with this movie, and which is really, it really did. I mean, at this point, we're all talking about the engineers and where all this is going.
Yeah, I mean,
on top of, this goes into the alien world. So we have two complete, storylines to go off right now.
I don't care how the alien becomes the things that attack Ripley in Alien. I want to see where the survivor goes on the freaking alien mothership and see whose ass she goes and kicks. I want to see that story. I want to see her searching the universe of the engineers more than I want to see this 200-year in-between Prometheus and Alien.
Yeah, but that's the stuff, like, we kind of know about already. So what's the, we have on...
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is I want to see her, I want to see her story.
Yeah, we got new territory now.
I rewatched all the Alien films. And the difference between the first Alien film and the last Alien film was like 300 some odd years.
Well, because they clone Ripley and they
clone Ripley 200 years after, and she's asleep for 54, and then she's asleep for X amount of time in between that. So it's like over 300 years that she's asleep. But they never tell you what year Alien happened. Like, there's never a set year for Aliens. So
it's like Distant Future. There isn't a chronology.
I thought they did. I thought they did.
No, I was
maybe
purposely
not,
watching
like computer in the beginning.
Maybe not in the movie, but they've dated it in the fiction and stuff like that.
Because in the movie, I didn't get it. So maybe if it's out there, let me know, because it's we got a clear date in this one.
Oh yeah, for sure,
2093
for sure. I just want to jump on really quick too. Fassbender.
I was just about to say.
Oh my god, like evil C-3PO. For all of you fans that are like C-3PO fans out there and like, man, that motherfucker takes so much shit from everybody. Dude, do not fuck with the robots. They'll fuck you up bad.
David? Well, a lot of people had a problem with David. Like, they were like, well, what is his motivation? Why is he doing what he's doing? He's a fucking robot.
Yeah, right. He has instructions.
He gets instruction. Protocol. He has protocol. Yeah. He follows it. It's the same thing Ash did in the first one. It's the same thing that Bishop did in the second, in the Aliens film, and it's not necessarily the same thing Winona Ryder's character did in Alien Resurrection. But they're all following kind of a set protocol where David was in essence just being told to try harder. Right. It's try harder. Well, that's all he could do was to try harder. So
I guess there was a scene that didn't get filmed, which explains why. Was it Guy Pearce?
Yes,
is the guy they used as Wayland. There's a scene that was never filmed that explains why they used Guy Pearce in an old mask, because he was supposed to be in the movie normally, like in flashback scenes and in the sort of visual stuff, showing him younger, and then now he's older, so now we know why he's there. And there was but for whatever reason either they didn't film it or they didn't include it. But his whole purpose was, I feel he didn't think he was coming back from this mission one way or another. The entire crew was sacrificial lambs.
Yeah.
All that mattered was for him to get this answer of why are we here? And when we are given the answer of why are we here, and this is actually a point I wanted to bring up, but I guess this works too. I think that's a hard question for humans, us, to be able to grasp. And it's a question that we can never answer for humanity, for ourselves. And so when you're given the answer of, you're just a race created by these random aliens, and the question now becomes, and he kind of mentions this, is it's not why are we here, why are they here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You found out you've been created. Humans created the android. Now we have been created by these aliens. And so I think a lot of people may have taken maybe some uncomfortableness with that, that it's sort of maybe something that, I don't know, maybe they subconsciously don't want to think about, or like, that kind of limits humanity's, purpose or nature, whether it's God or whether it's,
Sure.
whatever. and I think it's interesting to see people's reaction to that specific scene of why did David poison the guy? Why did he like kill this guy? And you said, Brock said try harder. He was under no rule to take care of these other people on the ship. He was there to preserve and save Wayland.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he was there.
Certainly.
It didn't matter what happened to anyone else. And I think I don't get people's reaction to the confusion behind that scene, because it seems you're unsure at first, but this is the way fiction works. By the end of the movie, you know exactly why. And I'm kind of hesitant to understand why people didn't get that. I hate to say try harder, but I just don't think they were paying attention.
No, they should try harder.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, this is the thing. When you're reading a book in front of you, a novel, if you're reading Game of Thrones, this is something we talk about often, Brock, you have a lot of things in your mind you go through and you kind of interpret what the character is like, and then you obviously have the voice in your head because of the series and the show. And then, where am I going with this? I fucking just had a brain fart.
Try harder, damn it.
Yeah, let me try harder.
Wait, well, I think the difference between something like a book and a movie, or like a thinking movie, as opposed to just, I'm assuming this is where you're going, is that you can't just shut your brain off in a lot of sci-fi action movies.
No.
And I think this is the case where you just really can't in this movie.
You have to pay attention. Otherwise, you have to go back and flip pages, and you have to read back again on the shit that you missed. Otherwise, you fucking just missed it.
Obviously I haven't seen this movie, but something I realized from Lost, because of that thing we went to at the movies right before the finale, is sometimes it's really easy, even if they've given you all the information, they've given you an answer, if the answer doesn't quite work for you, you kind of just reject it and figure there's got to be more to it, or
right.
And I don't know why that is so much, but if people don't like the answer, they just figure there's more answer that they don't.
That's
Well,
humanity.
yeah.
That's your humanity right there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's where do you come from, Ryan? Your parents, right?
Sure.
Well, where do they come from? And the question keeps going, and that's what you were saying with what Wayland was going for in that film. But with what you're saying is that we reject that answer, and that's exactly what happens. If you want to take the geeky route to it, that's what happens in Star Wars. Luke says no to Darth Vader being his father because he rejects that answer, right?
Yeah.
He rejects it at first, and then he has to end up accepting it. And I think that's what people need with Prometheus, is that it's going to ask those questions, it's going to present those questions, but you have to try hard enough to get at least some semblance of an answer for yourself, instead of kind of expecting it to come out of the film.
One other thing, too, because you brought up Star Wars, this is like a totally different direction, but for people that were so pissed off about the Star Wars prequels, go watch Prometheus. And you could see and get glimpses of what George Lucas should have done. He should have let Whedon fucking take on it. He should have let some other new school writer and scripter that is a modern storyteller know how to, fucking repackage his shit for, the audience of today. Mm-hmm. That's something I thought of when I was leaving the film.
Now, one thing I do want to talk about, and we can't possibly discuss this at length, but if you like the movie, or even if you didn't like the movie, and you want to read Damon Lindelof retweeted this, and he was kind of like, it's seeming like he kind of went, yep, you're on, you know exactly what you're talking about. A very, very long post on LiveJournal, of all things. People still use LiveJournal.
That's still around?
Apparently.
That's awesome.
550 freaking comments.
Yeah. Username Cavalorn, that's Cavalorn.
I'll have it up on the blog.
If you go search for this, article's called Prometheus Unbound, what the movie was actually about. This guy does a very lengthy kind of look at Prometheus, and actually and how it relates to the entire Alien franchise, and all the extreme religious symbolism that's in the movie. Some of it's pretty clear when you're watching it, but this guy goes to some extreme lengths to really break down a lot of the symbolism and hidden meanings in the movie. It doesn't mean the movie's good just because it's filled with hidden symbolism, but it adds a completely new level to this movie that a lot of people probably did not even think about. And I think some of this we kind of either consciously or subconsciously saw, but the level he goes into detail here, and I'm just going to say that Jesus was an architect and just or engineer, and just leave it at that. Yeah. This guy goes to some pretty crazy lengths, and I love this shit because and this is again with Lost. I mean, it's fiction. So the answer of why are we here? Sure, because some alien killed himself and put his DNA into our water, and then a million years later we became humans, right? Like when I saw that opening scene in the movie, I was like, is this Earth? Why did he kill himself? What's going on here? And yes, Brock, I know it doesn't. We argued about this earlier that Ridley Scott kind of came out and said it could be Earth. It doesn't have to be Earth. Whatever. It's just him spreading the seed of life.
It's showing how creation the life liquid worked.
But it's Earth. I mean, for us, it was Earth at the beginning of that movie that he started life. This alien started life in. So. I mean, this guy, Cavalorn, this guy nails it, and probably this will be, I assume, the piece on Prometheus.
Well, I mean,
he absolutely required.
He talks. I mean, it's been reposted by numerous websites. I mean, he dives really well into basically it. I mean, it's the cycle. It's the birth and rebirth. It's death. It's it has all of these characteristics in the film itself. It's Charlize Theron is wanting her dad to die because she wants to take the reins. The king can only rule for so long before he needs to step down. It's that rotation thing. It's that the cycle needs to
circle
of life.
Well, I did.
Rango.
It's funny. It's funny. Charlize Theron, her character. Talking with Ryan Scott about this before online before the podcast, he was questioning like kind of the stupidity of some of the characters. And while my answer was Cabin in the Woods, and that doesn't apply to anyone here, shockingly, seriously, go watch this movie. It's so good.
Is it on Netflix?
No, it's not even on DVD yet, but it'll be soon.
As far as I know, it's out of the theaters.
Yeah.
No, I think it's still there.
I doubt it.
I'm sure I'll find it on YouTube.
$2 Indian theater, maybe.
To you guys later.
Let's go watch it with Trevor.
God, no, I just pulled an Omar. Where was I going with this?
Boy.
Try harder.
It's okay, man. We're just human.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, no, it's Charlize Theron. I actually...
You should always go to...
Always go to Charlize Theron.
They said...
Always.
He was saying, like, why are people acting so stupid in this movie even they're supposed to be all professional and stuff? And Charlize Theron's comment of, every king has to die, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever the exact line is. I mean, I even was going through my head, maybe Charlize Theron just is trying to, whether Wayland's setting up everyone to die because it doesn't matter, whether Charlize Theron's trying to sabotage the entire mission by maybe not getting the most reputable people on Earth, because those guys in the cave kind of dumb, right? But it's like horror movie dumb. But hey, exactly. Alien in the horror movie, big surprise.
Yeah. I'm gonna look in this egg and look. I'm gonna put my head.
buddy.
So there's a bunch of stuff that it's like, look, you can look at this from so many different perspectives, and I'm not saying that you have to rationalize everything, right? Mm-hmm. But this movie. I don't get to hate, especially, and I think this is a fantastic movie, and not. I think it's well deserved seeing. And even worst case, you want to see a beautiful looking movie with some crazy violence, you'll be happy if you see this.
You got
movie
Charlize Theron looking like Samus.
Yeah, she kind of does look like Samus from Metroid.
Yeah, you could probably cut together scenes out of Prometheus and make a fake Metroid.
Dude, totally. You heard that.
Now, is there some dumb stuff? Of course, like I said. You just take 5 steps left, and you don't get crushed by an alien spaceship. Sure, okay. Movie's not perfect, right? There's some dumb stuff, but
dude, that was fucking comedy, man. That was hilarious.
I mean, the whole point you're like, just walk left. But
yeah.
Sure, but I mean, you saw that in the trailer. They showed that in the trailer, and I was like, why don't they just go that way?
Yeah.
Well, maybe she wants to challenge herself. Like, maybe if I run a little faster, I get around the spaceship.
Maybe. So, all right. Well. Prometheus,
must see.
Just
go watch it.
I do recommend everybody go read that article. That article is pretty dead on.
Yeah, I'm going to read it. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
I was very
read it
impressed.
Before or after the movie?
After. Definitely watch it after. Yeah, but yeah,
and then go watch it again.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, this is the thing, Toby. After watching the film, did you want to watch it again?
I don't know.
Or did you want to
I want to watch Alien now.
Well, that's the thing.
Well,
is after that movie, I was
Alien right before that movie. Literally, like right before that movie, like with like an hour or 2 hour gap in between. Yeah, and it was actually really cool. I have a weird Alien history that you guys might not know. I completely ignored the entire franchise up till now.
Really?
Because
wow.
of the head,
I used to work in this other shop.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm not disrespecting any Alien fans out there, but some of the Alien collectors are complete morons that come into the shop, right? Some of these guys are,
Well, have you seen Geiger's art
I've seen his art book, but again, these guys that collected the toys, that collected stuff, these are not the brightest cookies on dessert, and it made me kind of like I said, I don't want to disrespect anybody, and it made me kind of write off the entire franchise. I never knew it started as a real movie thing. Like I didn't, a serious movie. Let me put it that way. Yeah. So I completely ignored it. I just kind of wrote it off as a monster movie. All those other horror movies, and I just never paid attention to it. Never cared. Up till my bosses at work sat me down, going, "You have to watch this." I liked it, and then I watched Prometheus literally like an hour right after that. So
that's great.
Yeah, no, I and they told me some of the history, and I do like it. But yeah, there's this guy. Should I tell the story? The alien head moron.
You just talked about this.
I think I told it before, but yeah, I have some alien merchandise histories, which made me kind of despise the entire franchise for a long time.
Well, we're running real long. In case we want to have another fans that annoy you podcast, we can talk about this in a little bit more detail. Okay. But we're gonna wrap up now. But continue this conversation, forums at geekbox.net, or send us your emails or questions about how much you hate or love Prometheus, and let us know what you think. The Comics Conspiracy at geekbox.net. You can send us some stuff. Maybe we'll read a few on the air next week. So.
And I'm really, really curious to see what happens on 10, 11, 12.
Yes, that's actually a good question. At the very end,
supposedly they're building better worlds.
At the very end of the podcast, the very end of the movie, and the credit reel, there is a Wayland advertisement or whatever, awesome. Placard that said, December. Well, I'm assuming it was either October 12th, either October 11th, 2012, or November 10th. 2012, however you are in your Euro or American style.
Or it was in the past.
Possibly. There was just a placard with this date. So, Prometheus 2? Maybe? Alien -1? I don't know. We'll see.
That soon?
I mean, just like an announcement. Maybe we get the DVD release that day. Who knows? But yeah. Oh, DVD. Director's Cut.
Blu-ray. Dude,
Blu-ray.
Man, if they're like this movie, I will be buying on Blu-ray, and this movie I will be buying the director's cut. So yes, they will suck all the money from me from this film. Fuck them and their assholes.
The standard edition, the extended edition, and then the director's.
And then they're gonna get my cock in their ass
like
on the
feedback. Blade
feedback.
Runner has 5 versions on it.
I have the suitcase of the DVD that I have not even opened yet.
All right, we're done. Thank you all. We will see you next time.